Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 377th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you know, I mostly put a battle on every Saturday, but I'm off work this week, so I thought I'd put a Wednesday midweek bonus battle on for you to watch. And this is an unusual battle, which I hope you'll enjoy. Okay, our first teammate is Cody Ray 611, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. And I think, if I'm not mistaken there, he's got the bog standard 31k army, which is 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, that's the bog standard 31k army. Very efficient, very effective. So look at the upgrades on his cavalry, and I see he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. But as I say, that is the bog standard 31k army, 14 infantry. I see he's got 6 upgrades, so that's gold shield, gold attack on his infantry. Okay, our second teammate is somebody we don't see in our games very often, and that is Titan's Sparky, who has bought the Carthage faction. And I think he's got I think he's got 15 spear units, and I think he's got mixed upgrades on those spear units. It's 15. I think he's got gold shield, gold attack on some of his spearmen, which I presume would be at the front of his formation, and he's got better upgraded troops further on down the battle line there. As I say, he's got 5 cavalry. Let's have a quick look at the upgrades of his cavalry, and you'll see that he's just got 6 upgrades. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry, so he's obviously spent his money on his infantry there. Let's say he's got some units with just gold shield, gold attack, but if we look further on down his battle line, you'll see that he's got some of his spear units with 8 upgrades. So that's 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And my guess is when he does his formation, he'll have a staggered upgrade formation with the lower upgrades at the front to take the first contact with the enemy, and the better upgraded troops at the back. And then our third teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And this old army is 13 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, now as you can see straight away, this is on a different map from where I normally host. When I go on to RTW, if there's only like 2 or 3 of us on that I know, I'll host a battle on this particular map. And then if newer players join our map, they've got a big advantage on this map, and that is they've got a big hill. Okay, so that's what I tend to do. I tend to host on this map with just 2 or 3 people that I know. So we form up the first team, and then when the other players join our game, which could be new players, veterans, or whoever, but usually when I host on this map, it's people that I don't know in the lobby. And so if newer players join, they've got this big hill advantage here over us. Okay, so it works in both ways really, because if it is newer players, they've got the big hill advantage, and it still makes a bit of a challenge for us. You see what I mean? Because we've still got to attack uphill, even if it is newer players with all the advantages that they will have. Okay, and here is the other team. We have clan member TSB Ananestus, I think it is, Ananestus OTS, and he's bought the Greek cities faction. If you notice there, if you look at his army build, you'll see that he's got 12 Spartan units with what I think has got gold shield, gold attack on, and he's got 4 long-range Cretan archers, and unusually he's got 4, I think, light cavalry units there. Okay, so that's an unusual army. You very rarely see so many cavalry brought to a Greek city's army. So that'd be interesting to see. 4 long-range Cretans, 12 Spartans, and 4 cavalry. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Aurelius, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. If you look at his army build, he's got 10 infantry. And if you notice there, he's got an eagle unit there and a general unit. So he's got a lot of morale going on there with his infantry, but only 10 infantry. What do you think? Is that enough for the modern day battlefield? Maybe on a hill, yeah. And he's got 4 long range archers there, those auxiliary archers. And then he's got 6 cavalry as well. So I've got the upgrades on his cavalry, and he's got 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So that's a pretty good all-round army, I think, really. And their third teammate is RTW player Varus, who has bought the Mastodon faction. Now, to my knowledge, I haven't played against Varus before, but they did pick him out of the lobby, asked him to join the game, so I presume he is quite a good player. As I say, you can see he's bought the Mastodon faction. I think he's got something like 14 pike units there. If you notice his formation there, an unusual formation, but you'll see why he's put it like that a bit later on. And I see he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his infantry, which makes me think he spent a lot of money on his cavalry. Okay, so he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his infantry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. By the looks of it, he's spent a lot of money on his... Oh my gosh, yes. His companion cavalry are fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on that companion cavalry. Now, their charge is massive, their specifications are really good. And as you can see here, they're often called the winged horsemen as well because of the wing kind of things on their helmets. Okay, so that's a pretty good Mastodon army there. So this should be a great one for you to watch. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought I'd show you the general disposition of the enemy troops and ours as well. As you can see, they've really formed up on this big hill. And newer players to Rome Total War, if this was a real battle, obviously gravity would work for the team on the hill. Their arrows would go further and do more damage, the pilers would go further and do more damage, and also their infantry and cavalry would have a lot of momentum charging down the hill. Now, the makers of RTW have given all those advantages to troops that go up on the hill. So those are, make no mistake, those archers will fire a lot further and do a lot more damage. Those pilers will go a lot further and do a lot of damage. And of course, if you attack uphill and those cavalry and infantry charge downhill, they've got such a massive bonus through being on that hill that they can cause a heck of a lot of damage to your troops. So this is, so there's a lot of advantages to being on the hill. A lot of you may well have heard the term about hill camping. That's what people call it. But I don't know if I call it that, because in a real battle, you would grab the higher ground and you would hold on to it and you would make the most advantage of it. But the thing is, what question I'm going to ask you now is, how would you attack this hill? How would you attack it? Do you think the 3 of us should form up into one big massive line and just do a full frontal attack straight up that hill? I don't know if I fancy fighting Spartans uphill or Macedon uphill. And actually come to it, I don't know if I fancy fighting Romans uphill. But is that, how would you attack? A full frontal attack, the 3 of us should form up and just charge up that hill and see what happens. Is that what you would do? Veterans watching this as well. This is a question for both new players and veterans. How would you go about attacking this hill with all the advantages that I've just said that they've got on that hill? Yeah, maybe a full frontal attack. Is that what you would do? What about if we split up? One of us go round on that flank, one of us go round on that flank, and then someone does a head-on attack there to draw their forces in. How about that for a tactical thought? Yeah, so one of us attack head-on, and one of us go round one flank, one of us go round the other flank. How about that? Or maybe we could take our armies round a wide flank round the enemy to come up behind them. Oh dear. But if you notice, can you see how steep the hill is? It's a heck of a lot more steep round the rear than it is from the front. And all they would do is just turn their armies round, because they've got a smaller area to move. They just turn their armies round, and they would really like us to attack up that steep hill. So, okay, so really attacking from the rear of the hill would be no good. Attacking head-on's no good, really. So once again, back to the question, both veterans and new players alike, with all the advantages they've got on that hill, how would you attack that hill as a team? Interesting. Okay, at this stage of the battle, you can see that they've even got tighter. Can you see the Macedon general has got his formation? When we looked at his formation earlier, we thought it was a bit strange there, but he's covered his flank with his Macedon, with that Macedon formation, and he's moved in even tighter, almost integrating his pikes with Aurelius's Roman troops. And over here on our right flank, can you see that the Greeks, his general, is moving some archers down with his light cavalry round to our right flank. Now what I'm thinking he's trying to do here is he's trying to get in maybe a right flank in action here where he can target our infantry from the flank there. That's the only reason I could think that he's moving his archers and cavalry down there. But if you notice, he's now lower, he's below our troops, so he's kind of going to be firing uphill at our troops, which obviously probably would give him a bit of a disadvantage there from on top of the hill. As you can see here, as I said, the enemy Macedon general now has integrated his pikes in with this SBQ ally. Right, you can see Sparky here now, not going to let that Greek city's general do what he wants with his archers and stuff. He's going to take some spearmen over there to try and neutralise that movement on our right flank. But if you notice here, can you see this unit? Remember, they're 81-man units, and he's already down to 69 men there, where he's suffered casualties from archer fire. But But as I say, he's moved his spear units over there. Now, if you notice here, the enemy have just got cavalry to cover their archers. Well, of course, they're not going to want to have any truck with those spearmen. And not only are Carthage spearmen tough, but obviously all spears and pikes have got anti-cavalry bonus. Okay, so and if you notice here, they would be charging uphill if they tried to charge into us with those cavalry. So my guess is they're just going to back those archers and cavalry off once they see the spears approaching them. And that's exactly what they've done. Otherwise, they would have been attacking uphill there. So yeah, backing their troops off there was a good move there. But if you notice, to say Sparky's units there has been reduced down to 58 men from 81, and he hasn't even got into any combat. That's just casualties from archers there. But as I say, we've still got this problem here about how we're going to attack this hill. As I say, both veterans and new players alike, looking at the general disposition here of the enemy troops, what are you thinking? Can you see here, Cody's pilot shield unit's been reduced down to 62 men already from those archers with the advantage they've got from that hill. And he's going to lose even more men. I think he's losing a lot of men there from the archer fire. So I'm just not sure how what is the best tactic to attack this hill. As I say, newer players and veterans alike, we're trying to scratch our heads as well to see how we're going to attack this hill. Okay, at this stage of the battle, can you see that Aurelius is running his cavalry down on our left flank here towards Sparky's cavalry that he had hidden in the woods. Okay, so Aurelius has spotted Sparky's Sacred Band cavalry and is now charging his own cavalry down there. I'm guessing he's thinking there he's going to try and take out that Sacred Band cavalry. Okay, so he's done that. Now if you notice here, can you see Cody starting to move his infantry around the left here? Now if Aurelius keeps pressing on, right, just pause the game for a second. If Aurelius keeps pressing on down there towards that Sacred Band cavalry, if you can notice here, Cody and myself are moving our cavalry over. Now can you guess what we're going to do with our cavalry here? Well, of course, yeah, we're going to try and cut Aurelius' cavalry off. If we can cut his cavalry off, we could take all 6 of his cavalry units out as our Carthage ally will attack with his Sacred Band cavalry, and we of course would be able to hit him with our cavalry as well. So if he keeps pressing on, that's where we're going to go. We're going to try and cut him off. Do you notice that we held our cavalry back there until he committed his cavalry further and further away from his allies? And then we're going to hopefully move fast with our cavalry and try and cut him off. Can you see my Scipioid cavalry coming around there full pelt? And Cody's moving his cavalry over there as well. We're going to try and cut the SBQR cavalry off. But maybe more importantly here, can you see Cody is taking his infantry around the left flank of that hill? Okay, this is a bold move here, taking that infantry around the side of that hill. Right, can you see our cavalry there moving over, as I said, trying to cut off Aurelius' SBQR cavalry there. But he spotted us coming and he's trying to get back up to the hill, on top of the hill there with his allies, but we're going to try and cut him off there. Right, can you see that fully upgraded companion cavalry? Now, I don't want to fight uphill against fully upgraded companion cavalry. So there's no chance I'm going to charge up to engage them. Probably the best thing for me to do is to back off towards my allies' cavalry there, which is what I'm doing. And that companion cavalry luckily didn't charge down after me. But as you can see here, Cody's bringing his Brutii infantry up round the flank here. Obviously what he'd like to do is probably take it up round behind the enemy team there. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second here. So let's have a look at the general disposition. So he's here now on the flank of this hill. Now obviously what he'd like to do is take his infantry up behind the enemy team there and maybe even get above them. So he's got the hill advantage. Our cavalry there is trying to chase down Aurelius' cavalry. You can see Sparky moving here forward with his Carthage Sacred Band, looking to take on those Macedon pikemen there. Now what I want to do, I want to keep my army here. I want to keep them focused on me as much as I can. I don't want them to send reinforcements off to try and counter Cody. I want to be a threat to stand down here, ready to attack. Draw their attention onto me where maybe Cody gets his infantry up round behind them. I see Sparky's got some spear units by my army there. But meanwhile here, as I say, we're trying to chase down Aurelius' cavalry here before he can get back up to his allies. You see that light Greek cavalry looks like it's coming down. But those fully upgraded Macedon cavalry, I was expecting them to come charging down and smash into my cavalry there. But they're not. It's kind of like the Macedon general looks a bit hesitant there with his cavalry. Bearing in mind with the massive downhill cavalry charge bonus and advantage that he would have. Okay, you can see Cody slowly moving his infantry round the flank here. as I say, he would like to get up behind the enemy team there, so he gets the higher ground bonuses. And the enemy here, it seems that they're not quite sure what to do to counter his movements. As you can see here, Sparky with his Sacred Band units are looking to attack. If you notice, I've moved my infantry forward as well, as I want to try and draw some enemy units onto my army here, so there's less units to counter Cody's attack round that flank. Okay, with the downhill pilot advantage, my pilot shield units are going to be shot to pieces here, and I won't do a lot of damage to them being on higher ground, because of course I get the disadvantage and they're throwing uphill. Okay, so Cody's now got round behind the enemy team here. Great move there by our Brutii ally. Okay, and we've got our cavalry. We've got a big, I think, cavalry advantage here as well. We've got in behind them. All the Macedon general can now do that is turn and face Cody's infantry and they're being attacked now from higher ground. So we've switched it now from us being on the lower ground with them with a big advantage on top of the hill. We're now on top of the hill. So that was a nice tactical move there by Cody. And as you can see here, our Carthage ally is pushing in on those Macedon pike units there from the flank. If you notice here, some of the SBQR infantry are moving back up to help their allies here, but as you can see here, the Carthage Sacred Band pushing in. We're already routed a Macedon pike unit there, pushing in slowly and steadily there. As I say, you can see I've moved my infantry forward. I've put a couple of my Polish shield units into Testuda, with all three of them there, because they suffer so many casualties. But I've got Greek cities coming in on my flank, but a lot of Aurelius's SBQR troops now have moved back up to the top of the hill there to try and counter Cody's attack. Both Cody and myself are throwing our cavalry in there to try and break the enemy at the top of the hill here as they're moving forward to try and counter our attacks. Okay, so as I say, we've managed to get above, Cody's managed to get above the enemy troops there, maybe, but the Macedon pikemen there are in mass pushing against him. Right, can you see here, Spark is charging his Sacred Band cavalry. Bang! It's those SBQR infantry. Now what we want to do here, what I'd like to do here is try and take out those two SBQR units that are facing me, and then take my infantry up the hill and get in behind those engaged enemy troops. See those Macedon troops now facing Cody's? If I could get my infantry straight up that hill there, straight into the back of those Macedon troops. Meanwhile, you can see Sparky pushing in from the left with his Sacred Band spearmen there. But as I say, if we can force a hole through there. But if you notice, that companion cavalry, that fully upgraded companion cavalry, is now behind my infantry. Okay, I've got Greek cities in behind me as well. But as I say, really what I want to do is, I'm not going to bother with that. I want to get up the top of the hill. This is where the main battle is, on top of the hill here. If we can take the enemy out up here, then maybe we would win the battle. But as I say, Cody's infantry now are fighting those Macedon pikemen head on. And Aurelius has got his cavalry and infantry units up on here as well, around the flank of Cody's infantry, and you've got a big lump of Greek city units moving up here as well. Okay, so it's really to and fro here on what's going to happen. But as I say, we've done really well to get into the position that we've got in, but the enemy, I think, still got a bit of an advantage there. Obviously, with Aurelius's infantry and cavalry and those Greek city units there, they could maybe even outflank Cody's Brutii infantry there. But as you can see, that fully upgraded companion cavalry, it looks like the Macedon general's not quite sure what to do with that cavalry. He's taken it all around the battlefield, but they haven't hit anywhere as yet from what I've seen. Okay, so we've broken through those SBQR units, and can you see I'm starting to drive my army up the hill there. Okay, I'm going to take them up and then try and choose a target I want to smash into. Obviously, I think the best target here would be to hit into the rear of those engaged enemy Macedon troops. That would be the target, I think, for my Scipii army there. So that's what I'm looking to do there. As you can see, I'm running forward. I want to get into the back. But I'm very aware of those Greek city Spartans on my right there. Can you see, as I'm charging up into the rear of those Macedon units, the Macedon general spotted me and turned a unit to attack me here. Meanwhile, here, can you see I've got a couple of my Scipii units there being attacked by Greek city light cavalry and those Spartan units as well. Okay, let's just pause the game, take the general disposition here. Once again, can you see those Macedon cavalry? I don't think the Macedon general knows quite what to do with those fully upgraded cavalry. He's taken them all the way around the battlefield, and to my knowledge, he hasn't hit anything yet. Maybe he's looking to smash into the rear of Cody's engaged troops. Meanwhile, here you can see Cody stretch his infantry here to try and engage the enemy SBQR troops, but there's a big lump of Greek city Spartans there ready to join the fray. You've also got Greek City units here, and those archers will be shooting into us as well. You've got that to Greek City's light cavalry. But as I say, I'm charging my infantry. I just want to try and smash into the rear of those Macedon troops there. And if possible, try and punch a hole through those troops that are facing me and get into the rear of those engaged Macedon troops facing Cody's troops there. So that's what I'd like to do. But meanwhile here, as I say, I've got Sparky help me with his Carthage Sacred Band. But my 2 Scipio units there are fighting Spartans and those light cavalry as well. Luckily, I think those units have got an experienced stripe on, so that should keep them fighting longer. But as I say, I'm charging my units up into the rear of those Macedon units who have now turned to face me. So I'm now fighting pikemen head on. And you notice a Greek city general coming in, bang, as those Spartans charge into the side of my infantry. But can you see I'm trying to surge forward with my infantry? I'm trying to surge forward to get into the rear of those engaged pikemen facing Cody's infantry there. Meanwhile, the Macedon generals charged into the rear of Cody's engaged troops, and bang, as he charges in there, routed a couple of Cody's troops there. But of course, he's now charging uphill. Okay, so he's got a disadvantage. When you charge uphill, you've got a disadvantage. Right, see Cody charging his cavalry in, and bang, his cavalry charges in there. Okay, he's charging straight into pikes there, but I think he's thinking they're so battle damaged and probably their morale so low they're going to rout. And there you go. Okay, so that was a nice hit. Hammer and anvil attack. His cavalry, the hammer, my infantry, the anvil. Hammer and anvil attack. The Macedon general's gone as well. We know Macedon morale's not very good anyway, and with their general defeated there and routed, then that's good. If you notice here, I'm turning my Scipio troops now to face the threat of the Greek cities that are coming in on my flank. Okay, so as I say, I've turned infantry units now to face those Greek cities coming in on me now on the flank of my troops. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, we've taken out most of the Macedon units there, and I think most of the enemy SBQR cavalry has been army has been taken out as well. See, I'm charging my cavalry into the rear of those Greek city units there, hoping that the casualties that they suffered already might try and get a mass rout going here, but no, they haven't routed. I see he's charging his light cavalry, his Greek city light cavalry, into the rear of my troops there. Let's say that's a big group of Spartans there that we're fighting there, as you can see, big group of them. So and they've got their general still alive as well, giving them that general morale bonus. He's got his Cretan archers shooting at us as well. So as it stands at the moment, we've got a lot to do here against that Greek city formation there. Remember, the enemy are the purple SBQR, the Greek cities there. So you've got SBQR and the Greek cities there, and Macedon. Okay, so that's the enemy team there, and of course we're the green, the blue, and Carthage. Okay, so just a glance here, you can see I'm getting some of my Scipio infantry in behind those Greek city units. If you notice here, Sparky's brought some more Carthage Sacred Band up as well, so we're pushing in on those Greek city units from all sides now. Alright, the Greek city's general's just been routed, so their morale will now drop. And if you notice there, they're surrounded, completely surrounded now by our troops. They will know this, so their morale, they're distraught by enemy numbers, as you can see there, so their morale is going to be dropping like a stone. We've just killed the general there, and we're just pushing in now. We're just pushing in on them now. And it wouldn't surprise, there you go, if they mass routed. Okay, so we have now taken, basically we've taken the hill now. They were the last of the enemy troops that were on top of the hill. Okay, as you can see here, I'm charging my cavalry in just to make sure there. Bang, and my cavalry smashes into them there. And just to say, if you remember, we were all the way down there. All the way down there. And it's still got six maxed Macedon cavalry are still there. But as I say, we were all the way down here facing 3 good, well-built armies. And we had to take that hill, and somehow we managed to do that there. So well done to Cody and Sparky there. They played really well. Great movement, tactical movement, and attack by them. But to say, those Macedon cavalry, as I say, he spent most of his money on those, fully upgraded, 9 upgrades. But I think he was just unsure on the best way to use them. As you can see, he was moving them all over the battlefield, I think, looking for targets. I see he went into the back of Cody's infantry at one stage, but of course he was then charging uphill with that cavalry, and of course you get a kind of a disadvantage, obviously, charging uphill. So maybe when he watches it, if he watches this battle back, he'd probably be thinking he possibly could have done better with that fully upgraded Macedon cavalry. I would think now probably the sensible thing to do would be for him to admit defeat, as we've obviously managed to capture the hill. As I say, it wouldn't surprise me if the Macedon general now, there you are, he's admitted defeat there. So our team managed to capture the hill and win the battle there. First thing I'd like to say is I was amazed that it was a clear victory. When we were looking up that hill, seeing the enemy disposition and how well built their armies were, who would have thought we'd have got a clear victory at that stage of the battle. I'd just like to draw your attention to both Sparky and Cody's kills there. I thought they got very good kills there, and as I say, it was a clear victory there, and as you can see, there really good kills for both Sparky and Cody there. Really well done, guys. Some nice manoeuvring, some nice attacking moves there, some good tactical moves as well, so really well done. The enemy team probably didn't get the kills that they wanted, bearing in mind they had that big hill advantage there. But you know, I just thought the way that we attacked there, they just didn't seem to quite know how to counter our movement there. So as I say, just thought it was an interesting battle for you to watch, attacking the hill there. And as I say, it's a Wednesday bonus battle, and I hope you enjoyed it. So Spartan Commander is saying bye for now, and I'll see you soon.